This is the ISO 27001 certification audiobook. Please like and subscribe for more content, it helps the channel. This audiobook will include Part 1. Background. Part 2. Reasons for getting certified in ISO 27001. Part 3. Clauses and annexes. Part 4. Controls and groups. Part 5. Certification process phases. Part 6. Implementation phases. Part 1. Background. ISO/IEC 27001 is an international standard on how to manage information security. The International Organization for Standardization, ISO, has put forth the ISO 27001 standard to help organizations implement an information security management system which preserves the confidentiality, integrity and availability of information by applying a risk management process and gives confidence to interested parties that risks are adequately managed. Part 2. Reasons for getting certified in ISO 27001. The reason an organization would want to get certified in ISO 27001 are as follows. 1. To give other organizations comfort in knowing that you have mature implementation of your ISM. 2. Avoid the financial penalties and losses associated with data breaches. 3. Obtain an independent opinion about your security posture. 4. Improving processes and strategies. Part 3. Clauses and annexes. The ISO 27001 has 10 clauses and an annex, which are as follows. Clause 1. Scope of the standard. Clause 2. How the document is referenced. Clause 3. Reuse of the terms and definitions in ISO/IEC 27000. Clause 4. Organizational context and stakeholders. Clause 5. Information security leadership and high-level support for policy. Clause 6. Planning an information security management system, risk assessment, risk treatment. Clause 7. Supporting an information security management system. Clause 8. Making an information security management system operational. Clause 9. Reviewing the system's performance. Clause 10. Corrective action. Annex A list of controls and their objectives. Part 4. Controls and groups. There are 114 controls in 14 groups. Annex A.5, Information Security Policies. There are 2 controls. Annex A.6, Organization of Information Security. There are 7 controls. Annex A.7, Human Resource Security. There are 6 controls that are applied before, during, or after employment. Annex A.8, Asset Management. There are 10 controls. Annex A.9, Access Control. There are 14 controls. Annex A.10, Cryptography. There are 2 controls. Annex A.11, Physical and Environmental Security. There are 15 controls. Annex A.12, Operations Security. There are 14 controls. Annex A.13, Communications Security. There are 7 controls. Annex A.14, System Acquisition, Development and Maintenance. There are 13 controls. Annex A.15, Supplier Relationships. There are 5 controls. Annex A.16, Information Security Incident Management. There are 7 controls. Annex A.17, Information Security Aspects of Business Continuity Management. There are 4 controls. Annex A.18, Compliance, with internal requirements, such as policies, and with external requirements, such as laws. There are 8 controls. Part 5. Certification process phases. The ISO 27001 certification process is usually broken up into 3 phases. Phase 1. The organization hires a certification body who conducts a basic review of the ISMS to look for documentation, artifacts. Phase 2. The certification body performs a more in-depth audit where individual components of ISO 27001 are checked against the organization's ISMS. Evidence must be shown that policies and procedures are being followed appropriately. The lead auditor is responsible for determining whether the certification is earned or not. Phase 3. Follow-up audits are scheduled between the certification body and the organization to ensure compliance is kept in check. Part 6. Implementation phases. The ISO 27001 implementation process can be broken up into the following phases. Step 1. Assemble an implementation team. Step 2. Develop the implementation plan. Step 3. Initiate the ISMS. Step 4. Define the ISMS scope. Step 5. Identify your security baseline. Step 6. Establish a risk management process. Step 7. Implement a risk treatment plan. Step 8. Measure, monitor and review. Step 9. Certify your ISMS. Part 7. The Annexes of ISO 27001. Annex A.5. Information Security Policies. Annex A.5.1.1. Policies for Information Security. Annex A.5.1.2. Review of the Policies for Information Security. Annex A.6. Organization of Information Security. Annex A.6.1.1. Policies for Information Security. Annex A.6.1.2. Review of the Policies for Information Security. Annex A.6.1.3. Policies for Information Security. Annex A.6.1.4. Review of the Policies for Information Security. Annex A.6.2.1. Mobile Device Policy. Annex A.6.2.2. Teleworking. Annex A.7. Human Resource Security. Annex A.7.1.1. Prior to employment. Annex A.7.1.2. Terms and Conditions of Employment. Annex A.7.2.1. Management Responsibilities. Annex A.7.2.2. Information Security Awareness, Education and Training. Annex A.7.2.3. Disciplinary Process. Annex A.7.3.1. Termination or change of employment responsibilities. Annex A.8. Asset Management. Annex A.8.1.1. Inventory of Assets. Annex A.8.1.2. Ownership of Assets. Annex A.8.1.3. Acceptable Use of Assets. Annex A.8.1.4. Return of Assets. Annex A.8.2.1. Classification of Information. Annex A.8.2.2. Labeling of Information. Annex A.8.2.3. Handling of Assets. Annex A.8.3.1. Management of Removable Media. Annex A.8.3.2. Disposal of Media. Annex A.8.3.3. Physical Media Transfer. Annex A.9. Access Control. Annex A.9.1.1. Access Control Policy. Annex A.9.1.2. Access of Networks and Network Services. Annex A.9.2.1. User Registration and Deregistration. Annex A.9.2.2. User Access Provisioning. Annex A.9.2.3. Management of Privileged Access Rights. Annex A.9.2.4. Management of Secret Authentication Information of Users. Annex A.9.2.5. Review of User Access Rights. Annex A.9.2.6. Removal or Adjustment of Access Rights. Annex A.9.3.1. User Responsibilities. Annex A.9.4.1. Information Access Restriction. Annex A.9.4.2. Secure Logon Procedure. Annex A.9.4.3. Password Management System. Annex A.9.4.4. Use of Privileged Utility Programs. Annex A.9.4.5. Access Control to Program Source Code. Annex A.10. Cryptography. 10.1.1. Policy on the Use of Cryptographic Controls. Annex A.10.1.2. Key Management. Annex A.11. Physical and Environmental Security. Annex A.11.1.1. Physical Security Perimeter. Annex A.11.1.2. Physical Entry Control. Annex A.11.1.3. Securing Offices, Rooms and Facilities. Annex A.11.1.4. Protecting against external and environmental threats. Annex A.11.1.5. Working in secure areas. Annex A.11.1.6. Delivery and loading areas. Annex A.11.2.1. Equipment siting and protection. Annex A.11.2.2. Supporting utilities. Annex A.11.2.3. Cabling security. Annex A.11.2.4. Equipment maintenance. Annex A.11.2.5. Removal of assets. Annex A.11.2.6. Security of equipment and assets off premises. Annex A.11.2.7. Secure disposal or reuse of equipment. Annex A.11.2.8. Unattended user equipment. Annex A.11.2.9. Clear desk and clear screen policy. Annex A.12. Operations security. Annex A.12.1.1. Documented operating procedures. Annex A.12.1.2. Change management. Annex A.12.1.3. Capacity management. Annex A.12.1.4. Separation of development, testing and operational environments. Annex A.12.2.1. Controls against malware. Annex A.12.3.1. Information backup. Annex A.12.4.1. Event logging. Annex A.12.4.2. Protection of log information. Annex A.12.4.3. Administrator and operator logs. Annex A.12.4.4. Clock synchronization. Annex A.12.5.1. Installation of software on operational systems. Annex A.12.6.1. Management of systems audit controls. Annex A.12.6.2. Restrictions on software installation. Annex A.12.7.1. Information systems audit controls. Annex A.13. Communications security. Annex A.13.1.1. Network controls. Annex A.13.1.2. Security of network services. Annex A.13.1.3. Segregation in networks. Annex A.13.2.1. Information transfer policies and procedures. Annex A.13.2.2. Agreements on information transfer. Annex A.13.2.3. Electronic messaging. Annex A.13.2.4. Confidentiality or non-disclosure agreements. Annex A.14. System acquisition, development and maintenance. Annex A.14.1.1. Information security requirements analysis and specification. Annex A.14.1.2. Securing application services on public networks. Annex A.14.1.3. Protecting application services transactions. Annex A.14.2.1. Secure development policy. Annex A.14.2.2. System changes control procedures. Annex A.14.2.3. Technical review of applications after operating platform changes. Annex A.14.2.4. Restrictions on changes to software packages. Annex A.14.2.5. Secure system engineering principles. Annex A.14.2.6. Secure development environment. Annex A.14.2.7. Outsource development. Annex A.14.2.8. System security testing. Annex A.14.2.9. System acceptance testing. Annex A.14.3.1. Protection of test data. Annex A.15. Supplier relationships. Annex A.15.1.1. Information security policy for supplier relationships. Annex A.15.1.2. Addressing security within supplier agreements. Annex A.15.1.3. Information and communications technology supply chain. Annex A.15.2.1. Monitoring and review of supplier services. Annex A.15.2.2. Managing changes to supplier services. Annex A.16. Information security incident management. Annex A.16.1.1. Responsibilities and procedures. Annex A.16.1.2. Reporting information security events. Annex A.16.1.3. Reporting information security weaknesses. Annex A.16.1.4. Assessment of and decision on information security events. Annex A.16.1.5. Response to information security incidents. Annex A.16.1.6. Learning from information security incidents. Annex A.16.1.7. Collection of evidence. Annex A.17. Information security aspects of business continuity management helps meet. Annex A.17.1.1. Planning information security continuity. Annex A.17.1.2. Implementing information security continuity. Annex A.17.1.3. Verify, review and evaluate information security continuity. Annex A.17.2.1. Availability of information processing facilities. Annex A.18. Compliance. Annex A.18.1.1. Identification of applicable legislation and contractual requirements. Annex A.18.1.2. Intellectual property rights. Annex A.18.1.3. Protection of records. Annex A.18.1.4. Privacy and protection of personally identifiable information. Annex A.18.1.5. Regulation of cryptographic controls. Annex A.18.2.1. Independent review of information security. Annex A.18.2.2. Compliance with security policies and standards. Annex A.18.2.3. Technical compliance review. This concludes this part of the audiobook. Please like and subscribe for more content, it helps the channel.